YouTubing, as soon as we start streaming on YouTube, which we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming. Welcome, good evening. Look, guys, before we go on, I was playing salt eye with myself. I don't know how, but I've got salt or some cleaning product or something in my eye, and this eye is in absolute agony, okay, guys? So I'm trying to deal with that with playing salt eye by myself. But look, guys, the crux of tonight's live stream is the British collapse, the Great British Collapse. You've heard of the Great British Bake Off. We are witnessing the Great British Collapse, and the game is rigged. Obviously, I'm talking about the bombshell where Robert Jenrick today has accused 35 judges. Hang on, let me just get this so I'm right, okay? I'll sack every activist judge to tackle pro-migrant bias, says Robert Jenrick. Shadow Justice Secretary says there should be no place for judges whose political activity undermines their neutrality. Look, guys, you know how we have these crazy decisions in the legal system in the United Kingdom at the moment? I mean, look, guys, do you remember the Epping protests, the protests by the, that's why I don't leave the house, guys. I don't leave the house. I'm quite safe in the house. I'm not going to get myself into any trouble. I go to these protests. The next thing, I'm leading an army of 1,000 people. There's stakes, there's gallows, there's all sorts of crazy stuff. People start talking French. But look, guys, let's get back on track. Remember the migrant protest outside the Bell Hotel in Epping? Not the Epping Hotel. So there was a guy, and I watched this. We was watching this on a live stream. We maybe even been together. And a guy jumped up on the roof of the Bell Hotel and he rang the bell of the Bell Hotel in Essex. He got over 2 years in jail for that little escapade, whereas the man who sexually assaulted the girl got 12 months. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Make it make sense. Well, it's all making sense right now because the game is rigged. The British collapse, ladies and gentlemen, the game is rigged. Robert Jenrick has identified, as I understand it, Robert Jenrick has identified 35 judges, or accused. Got to be careful. Robert Jenrick has accused 35 judges of pro-migration bias because he's allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, guys. Remember, I don't want to get Lucy Conlid. I'm not into getting Lucy Conlid at all. But Robert Jenrick is allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. If you want to go and check this article out, it's on The Telegraph. It was released today at 10:30 p.m. That's not right. Well, it was released today, 10:30 p.m. Doesn't make any sense. But what he's saying is that he's identified or accuses 35 judges in the United Kingdom of having a pro-migration bias. So, you know, now, so put some of the things we've previously said on these, on these videos, put some of that stuff into context. For example, you only need a very small number of judges, politicians, to push a law through. You do. You only need a very small number. And once that law is passed into law, and that guy, what's he called? A gavel. Once that judge hits his guy, I don't know if they do this for a law. They probably don't do this for a law. In fact, I'm more than confident they don't do this for a law. But once he bashes that gavel down and says, "So it be a law," then guess what? The police, the legal system, the bureaucracy, that everyone is obliged to abide by those laws, whether they agree with them or not. So that's what we're talking about now, guys. We're talking about that today. We really are going to be focusing on this today. Just let me give a quick context as well. We're going to go on it now. I'll go on to it now, and if there's any further questions on it, we'll come back to this. Okay. So you know the mosque. You know the mosque fire in where was it, like Nottingham or something? You know that mosque? I think it was Kettering, which is Kettering Nottingham? I don't know. But you know the mosque fire, and contextually, everybody was like, "Oh, we're afraid, we're worried, it's deeply concerning. Oh, by the beard of Zeus, somebody scorched a door on a mosque." Oh, it's those middle-aged white men. Oh, those middle-aged white men. By the beard of Zeus, those middle-aged white men. And the Home Secretary's coming out, pledging more security for mosques and will keep the Muslim community safe. Turns out, and this is from Nottingham Police's own website, guys. This is from Nottinghamshire Police's own website. All right, I go check it out yourself. I'm not fake newsering. So it turns out the man arrested, and I believe he was charged this morning, I think, with this, is a 43-year-old man called Arif Ali Rafiq. Arif Ali Rafiq. Now, as I understand it, they're claiming he's a British Asian man. I don't know what that means. I remember when I used to live in Rotherham, they used to use the word Asian to hide the grooming gangs. What they really mean is Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, but they used to say Asians. Oh, it's Asian crime. Really Asian? What do you mean by Asian? Well, like Chinese Asians? Are those the guys? No, the other Asians. Vietnamese? Thailand? Southeast Asia? What do we mean by Asian? No, we actually mean Pakistani Muslims. All right, okay, fair enough. Right, okay. Why don't we just say that? Look, guys, I'm not saying this guy's Pakistani Muslim. I am just reading what's on the mainstream media. Not even on the mainstream media. I'm reading what Northamptonshire Police have released. So the guy who they've arrested and charged with setting fire to the mosque or burning the door in the car is a man called Arif Ali Rafiq. Now he is a alleged, I don't even need to say allegedly. On the Nottinghamshire Police website, they're claiming that, again, I'm having to caveat everything, aren't I, guys? Because I'm really scared of getting loosey tongued. So what Nottingham Police are saying is that he is a British Asian man. Again, I don't really know what that means. I don't know what that means, guys. I don't know what British Asian means. What does that mean? You're British on Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday to Sunday, you're Asian. I don't know what it means, guys. British Pakistani, British Somali, British. I don't know what it means. As far as I'm concerned, you're either one or the other. If I went and lived in Ukraine, I wouldn't be a British Ukrainian. I would be a British citizen or a British expat living in Ukraine. I wouldn't be British Ukrainian or British American. If I go to live to America, I'm just going to be full-time American. I will be full-time American. I will be that guy who lives in Arizona, up in the hills, far too many of those long pointy things that stuff comes out at the end. I would be the weirdo who lives in the woods, probably on my own, because Sarah and the kids were like, Dad, you can't live up there on your own. I'm living up here on my own. Look at all this stuff I've got. I'm just going to hide here and wait. What are you waiting for, Dad? I don't know, something. Let's get back on track, guys. Let's go back on track. So I've got a little bit of a monologue here. Guys, listen, this eye is in absolute agony. I was playing Salt Eye with myself. Oh, by the beard of Zeus. I was playing Salt. I've got some salt in my eye, guys. It's absolutely agony. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on here for you guys. I'm on here for you guys. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Okay. So we've done the mosque attack. Is what it is. Here's the thing. I'm gonna continue with this a little bit more. Actually, I said I was going to finish it. What do we? If that would have been a white man, a white Christian man with a name like I don't know, Daniel LaRusso. No, that's like Italian. If this had been a white man and his name was Daniel Jones, what do you think the sentencing would have been? Now we find out that his name's Rafiq or something. What do you think? He's probably not even going to get sentenced. And remember, like when this happened, the first thing I said straight away was, you can't say it's a hate crime. Unless you've got evidence that that's a hate crime, you can't say it's a hate crime. So turns out, was it a hate crime? Did he leave his shoes in the mosque and like they'd locked the doors and he was just trying to get his shoes back? I don't know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's start with what Robert Jenrick is actually saying at the Tory conference. Guys, have you seen the scenes from the Tory conference? It's not that spectacular, guys. I'll be honest with you. It's not that spectacular. But he claimed, so this is Robert Jenrick now, guys. I'm not claiming this at all. I've got no opinion on this. And if anybody from the authorities are watching, I am totally woke. I am totally woke. So I do the Ricky Gervais thing. That Ricky Gervais thing he did. What did he do? Yeah. So I'm totally woke now, guys. I go down to Dover. Every day I go down to Dover and I look, see if there's any boats, you know, to help them come in. Help them come in. Oh, come in. And I went down this day and there was no boats. There's no boats. So I was like, oh, God. So I was waiting around town and I saw some trucks. Anyway, I looked underneath and there was a load hanging on underneath the trucks. So I said, all right. I said, all right, guys, is it just you lads? Ricky Gervais does it better. You guys know where I'm going with that. I'm surprised he's not being arrested for that. So look, guys, I'm sorry. My comedy timing's off. I can't really do other people's material. My eye is in phenomenal pain, ladies and gentlemen. I was playing soul tie with myself. So Robert Jenrick, guys, right, at the Tory conference, he is claiming that there's a hidden network of judges, up to 35, mostly in immigration tribunals, who are letting their pro-migrant views skew their rulings. He points to judges who volunteered for groups like Bail for Immigration, Detainees for the Asylum Support Appeals, or who have posted pro-immigration views on social media. And look, guys, with this social media thing, if it's good enough for us not to get a job for our social media posts, and believe me, I've been there, that's why I don't have any social media apart from this one, and that one, which brings me on to the point, ladies and gentlemen. We're triple streaming today. Can you go and like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow, guys? We're streaming on YouTube, TikTok, and X, and we're doing it all simultaneously by the magic and the power and the eternal flame of the internet. Hang on, guys. I need some buttons to press. Give me a second. TikTok's telling me to press some buttons. Give me a second. Have I pressed that? No, it told me to press some buttons, and now it's swizzling me off. So up to 35 judges, and again, you know, let me give context to this. You know, Robert Jenrick is saying there's 35 judges. You know, he's saying that with pro-migration background. What are the other judges? You know, could our judicial system have been infiltrated by, I don't know, pro-Russia, pro-Palestine, pro-China, pro-whatever? Do you think that could have happened? I do. It's part of subversion, ladies and gentlemen, and we've talked about that a lot of times. So Robert Jenrick argues that this is a breach of the judicial code of conduct, which demands neutrality and avoiding any appearance of bias. And I think that's quite fair, guys. I really do. I don't think you should be going to see a judge if a judge is part of your gang or part of your team. Clearly judges need to be impartial. So why does this matter? Well, Robert Jenrick, again, guys, not me, Robert Jenrick, he's saying that these judges are behind the high success rate of asylum appeals. Nearly half of Home Office rejections get overturned. Can you imagine that, guys? Like what did he say, actually? Either nearly half or over half of Home Office rejections get overturned. You know, he was saying that this is a deep rot in the system, letting illegal migrants stay in the UK, clogging up deportations, and even threatening public safety. We all know it's a threat to public safety, guys. We do. Like, look at the rapes in the United Kingdom. Like, guys, honestly, look at the rape culture we have in the United Kingdom now. We've got 2 small girls, you know. I can't tell you guys with words how afraid we are about our girls growing up in this country. We can't, I can't express how afraid I am. And that's one of the reasons, you know, that's one of the reasons we are potentially looking to move to Kiev. It just doesn't happen there. Of course it happens, but nowhere near on the scale of industrialized like it does in the United Kingdom. You know, it's clearly, it's clearly a threat to public safety. Absolutely. There's no denying it, guys. Absolutely no denying it, Now, Robert Jones was tying this to broader goals, like leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. And you guys know, because we talked about it yesterday, leaving the European Convention on Human Rights means conscription is like, conscription. Leaving the court of leaving the ECHR literally means conscription, guys. It really does. There's no way around it. The only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons why in the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, we spoke about it yesterday, guys. If you've not watched that video yesterday, go and watch my my video yesterday when we talked about the Civil Contingencies Act. It may seem wild because I just absolutely blast information out, but the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, if we leave the European, the ECHR, that literally means you can conscriptions here. There's no way around it. That literally is what it is. Right, let me get some comments, actually, guys. Let me get some comments. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So there's some fantastic people here tonight, guys. We've got Andrew Long. We've got Sarah Kant. We have got Andy Bonnie. I hope that's not Bonnie Blue watching. I hope Bonnie Blue's not watching. We've got Hannah. We've got Kimberly Susanna. Is that two people or is that just one person? I don't know. We've got Ed Jones, the Dog Father. Googly, share the live. Thank you so much, Googly, for sharing live. Googly is saying, Sean, grow a beard again. I don't want a beard. I don't want a beard. But Googly's saying, please. He's saying, grow a beard again, please. I'm not growing a beard. I'm not growing a beard. I'm growing my hair long, like Aragorn, the king of men. I feel I'm at that age now where I need to have like John Wick hair. I've gone all my life with having short back and sides. April Lee's saying evening all. Timsky's saying evening. How are you on this beautiful evening, Sean? That eye is in absolute agony, guys. Absolute agony. I had, I was playing salt eye with myself and I salted my eye. Sissy, Charisma, Jackie Holmes, everybody welcome. Jodie Lee saying evening, everybody. My hubs too. Okay, my hubs too. Okay, hello, my hubs too. Sharon Owen is saying good evening. Lulswell saying that. April Lee saying I'm in Nottingham and he's a Muslim. Which would be in response to the fire at the mosque that was initially blamed on the far right. And then, turns out it wasn't far. Well, we don't know. I'm not going to speculate. And maybe this guy is far right. I don't know, genuinely don't know what it is. Right. I'm not going to repeat your last comment, April Lee. Demery Gen X is saying good evening. Smirnoff, no, guys, honestly, I don't know what I've got in my eye, but it is absolutely agony. Sean McGay is saying, poor girl, oh, guys. Yeah. Guys, Sean McKay here has... I'm gonna talk about this because Sean McKay's mentioned it. All right, I wasn't gonna mention this today, guys. Look, this is gonna be brutal. All right, if you guys, I don't know, if you guys like want to go and have a cup of tea or something for the next five minutes, please do, because this is gonna be brutal. There was an article out and it's trending quite a lot on X. So I can't find any mainstream media article talking about this, like none. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you the article from X, and I'm going to tell you. Yeah, well, hang on, let me repin Sean McKay's comment. He's going to go in a second. So Sean McKay is saying, oh, hang on, Sean McKay was saying something. Poor girl taken, immigrant. Always does that when I talk about something. I think he's kicked me off, guys. I think I'm kicked off TikTok. Guys, listen, I don't know if I'm streaming. I hope I'm streaming again. If the live stream goes down on TikTok, go over to YouTube, guys. Okay, if the live stream goes down on TikTok, go over to YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on TikTok. So I'm gonna talk about this now, guys. So this is what Sean McKay was talking about. Allegedly, I have to say allegedly, but this is out on a lot of articles, and a lot of people are sharing this on X. I'll repeat that, guys. I cannot find any mainstream media article reporting this, okay? So I'm just going to read this. This is from YouTube, X. In Liverpool, a local girl was abducted by migrants. She was locked up and drugged. Unable to talk, in desperation, she threw herself out of the first floor window. The police raided the address and they were arrested. Like, again, you know, we've got two girls, you know, literally 13 and 11. Watching this sort of stuff, I can't tell you the fear. And, you know, how many of these things are happening and not being reported? So, you know, when that girl, if she gets let out of the apartment, if they say, right, off you go, tell anyone, and it's, well, and they give threats. How many of those girls are just too scared to tell anyone, too ashamed to tell their parents, too ashamed and scared because they're worried about what's going to happen? How many of these things are going unreported? So I'll read that again, guys. In Liverpool, a local, again, this is allegedly, guys. I shared this on my X. In Liverpool, a local girl was abducted by migrants. She was locked up and drugged, unable to talk. In desperation, she threw herself out of the first floor window. The police raided the address and they were arrested. Now, remember what we just said about the legal system and how the game is rigged? Who's to say that she's not lying? Who's to say that, guys, who's to say that she isn't just a crazy drug addict and through herself, she went back, she was actually taking advantage of those migrants? Who's to say? Who's to say? I mean, you've got maybe, you know, 2, 3 migrants, and I'm speculating here, guys, hypothetically. Maybe you've got 2, 3 migrants who are saying, no. This girl came back and she was trying to rob us. She was taking all these drugs and she had us, and she just threw herself out the window. We was trying to get her a taxi. Where's the evidence? You know, where's the evidence where's the evidence? And then you get this judge, you know, like Robert Jenrick's talking there, this 35 judges that potentially, again, I need to be very careful what I'm saying. Robert Jenrick is alleging that there are around 35 pro-migrant judges. And the judge says, oh, well, it's her. It's not you guys, it's her. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't sound, that sounds wild, doesn't it? That what I've just said sounds insane, right? It sounds crazy. Sounds absolutely bonkers. But let's not forget that in Rotherham and other places, girls as young as 10 by social service, 10 years old, girls as young as 10 years old were being accused of being prostitutes by British social services. So let's not pretend that this is beyond the realms of possibility, that these guys are going to walk. You know, Right, let me get back on track, guys. Let me get back on track with this monologue. My eye is absolutely killing me. So, I want to, you know, I want back in. I think it was April 2025. Oh, my eye, guys. Honestly, I need to stop playing soul tie with myself. Back in April 2025, Robert Jenrick co-authored a report naming judges with ties to aid groups in France, those who challenged the Rwanda deportation scheme. It's a hardline stance, you know, and some people are cheering and saying it's about time we tackle this two-tier justice system that favors migrants over Brits. And I, for one, am one of those people. This all comes back, ladies and gentlemen, all this is smoke and mirrors, because here in the United Kingdom, we do not have any legal framework. We do not have any legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. None. And it could be argued by some, I could certainly argue, you know, that we have like a light tyrannical government. A light tyrannical government. You know, I saw somebody post, when you talk about the Second Amendment, I saw somebody post, and they posted about firearms, and somebody posted, I don't know if it was a meme or whether somebody wrote it, and they wrote, conservatives think guns are for hunting, protecting themselves, and protecting themselves against the tyrannical government, because that's what they use them for. And then they wrote underneath, you know, liberals think that guns are used for mass shootings because that's what they use them for. And I guess it comes back to this, like, you know how you can always tell a thief? You can always tell a thief. I honestly, guys, this is Raven's analysis, a little bit of knowledge for you. This is through my life experience, right? You can always tell a thief, because if something goes missing, they will always say it's been stolen. Straight away. Where's my phone? Somebody's stolen it. What? No, I just think I misplaced it. I had it on me. No, somebody's stolen it. It was stolen. That person who was it, they will always think that somebody's stolen it. So, you know, when we talk about the legal system, two-tier legal system in the United Kingdom, it's here, guys, and you've got to be afraid for your kids. Can you imagine, can you imagine if this court case goes on? You know, and sorry, guys, I know I said I wouldn't do it, but I mean, we started, so, you know. So there's been a girl allegedly in Liverpool who's been locked in a flat allegedly by migrants. Let me see if there's any. Hang on, guys, give me a second. I do apologize. Let me try and. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if anything's come out on the mainstream media, and then I'll be able to talk about it more. No. Oh. Hang on. I may have got it here. Hang on. I think I've got it here on Liverpool Echo. Give me a second, guys. Let me see. I think this might be it. Give me a second. Right. Okay. I don't know if this is it. I don't think there's going to be two incidents on. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of incidents with women throwing themselves out of windows in Breck Road. So I'm just going to read you this now from the Liverpool Echo. Woman falls from flat window as man arrested. That's what the article's saying. Oh, God, that eye. A woman is in hospital with serious injuries after falling from a second-floor window. Emergency service were called to Breck Road, Anfield. The woman in her 30s. Right, let me check this here, guys. They're saying the woman's in her 30s. A local girl was abducted. Right. Okay. Well, that where it says there, a local girl, that would assume she. I mean, when I hear local girl, I'm assuming under like 16 and under. I'm 17, 16 and under. So 17, I wouldn't. Yeah, you. A girl would insinuate a lot younger than a woman in her 30s. So it might just be a thing that women are throwing themselves out of windows in Liverpool, guys. I don't know. Is there anybody from Liverpool watching? And in Liverpool, is it a thing that people throw themselves out the windows? So the woman aged in her 30s was taken to hospital with assessment for serious injury. She's in a serious but stable condition. Following inquiries, a 39-year-old man from Everton was arrested on suspicion of false imprisonment. So it does seem like this is the same article, guys. It does seem like this is the same article. He has been taken to a police station for questioning. Cordon remains. Oh God. Cordon remains in place while forensic investigations take place. Police are appealing for anyone who has information to come forward. Detective Inspector Natalie Charlesworth said, "These are the early stages of the investigation, so I would ask that anyone who saw the incident or lives nearby come forward with any information, including CCTV or doorbell footage. We are working to establish exactly what happened and keeping an open mind. So speak directly to us or anonymously via Crime Stoppers," and then a load of stuff. So it does look like that is the. I've only just seen this now, guys. It does look like that is the same. It does look like that is the same incident. So it does look like it's credible. Although the initial reports on X, where it says a girl was abducted by migrants, it said, I mean, to me, this looks like a woman was held by somebody who may be a migrant. I don't know, so we've just got to be careful about what we're repeating, guys. And always, guys, everybody really needs to fact check stuff, because there is so much false information and misinformation being fanned around at the moment. It's very easy to fall into that trap. Trevor Pitchard is saying doorbell footage when she is in prison. I don't know what that means. Guys, my eye is absolutely in agony. Philip is saying, okay, Phil, I'll do Philip in a second. Lisa Jane is saying it's absolutely disgusting. Girl and 30s. Why can't they just get her age right? So we're going off two different articles here, guys. And what we've got to be very careful about is social media will come out with stuff first, but you've got to be very careful when you're sharing it. You've got to be very careful when you're reading from it, especially like I am, and I'm, doing a little show to you, fantastic, beautiful, good-looking, intelligent lot. You've got to be very careful, when you're repeating this stuff. Tracy McKibben is saying, Sean, get a cold, wet cloth for your eye. I think I'm just going to throw some vinegar on it in a bit. And then Four Paws is saying, usually Liverpool is quite safe from this sort of thing, but I guess it's everywhere now. Yeah, guys, look, I don't believe anywhere is safe. I don't believe anywhere is safe in the United Kingdom right now. Doesn't matter where you look, where you turn, where you go, where you hide. There really doesn't seem to be anywhere you can hide anymore. I mean, you might want to move to the countryside. Well, it turns out you get, it looks like the countryside's racist. So no doubt there will be some sort of, I don't know. What's going to happen to the countryside, guys? We're told that the countryside is racist. So maybe, I don't know, maybe to make the countryside more diverse, there'll be some government scheme whereby, if you're from a minority, you get given free stuff in the countryside. Hang on, guys. Oh, hang on. This is interesting. Give me a right. So hang on. So switching to Manchester, this has just come out, guys, from a lady called Yoni Finlay. So let me just read this, guys, okay? Who's going to protect us? Ex-wife of man injured in Manchester synagogue attack says he no longer wants to live in the UK. And look, guys, anybody that's in the United Kingdom right now, like, you know, if you're in the Jewish community, like, you should, like, if you're in the, and I mean this with all respect, if you're in the Jewish community right now, like, leave the UK. You know, there's nothing, why are you here? You know, go to Israel. You'll be safe in Israel. You know, you're not going to get this sort of thing in Israel. So Yoni Finlay has been hospitalized since the attack on the synagogue in Heaton Park last week after being injured by a police bullet. His ex-wife, Naomi Finlay doesn't sound like a Jewish name, whatever. Naomi Finlay says he definitely does not feel safe in this country, and he's quite, yeah, guys, look, like, you know, with respect, you know, we're thinking about leaving, and I say this to everyone, like, if you're in the United Kingdom now and you have the means, just get out now, because if the legal system is rigged against you and the whole system is rigged, what hope do you have? You're going to stand and fight? You're going to wave your flag? England, absolutely fine. Go do that. Just contextualize that the man who sexually assaulted the girl in Epping got 12 months in prison. A man at the protest who rang a bell outside got 2 years. Absolutely fine. Go do whatever you need to do. The man injured by the police bullet in the Manchester synagogue attacks feels so unsafe he no longer wants to live in this country. Mate, I no longer feel safe to live in this country. He no longer wants to live in this country, along with their children. Naomi Finlay has been visiting Yoni Finlay in hospital since the attack last week. I hope they get back together. Guys, I hope Yoni Finlay and Naomi Finlay, I hope they get back together. I really do. I hope this brings them back together. I really do. I hope we can get some good news out of this. I'm talking, you know, for the children. Yeah, sorry guys, that was a little bit of a side quest. I just saw that jump up. Let me close that down. So we are talking today, guys, about how Britain is collapsing, and it's done by design. Not only is it done by design, it's done by design. We're paying for this ourselves. We have a legal system as far as Robert Jenrick is saying. Now, Robert Jenrick is accusing 35 judges of having pro-migrant biases. So if they get to if they come to the courts or up against a judge and they get one of these 35 judges, one of those 35 judges may be more lenient towards that type of thing or person. You know, and this is where the two-tier thing comes from, because people, like, it's very difficult. Like, how do you say, right? How do you explain to someone if aliens, right? And I hope they are, if the aliens are looking down on Earth right now, I'm pretty convinced they are. In fact, they definitely are. The aliens are looking down on Earth right now. They're looking at the United Kingdom. They're saying, like, right, nanu, nanu. Yes, mate, is saying, nu, nu, na, na, ni. And what that means, translated from alien to English tongue, is, right, mate, look at the United Kingdom and try and find out what their legal system is all about. And they're like, yeah, no worries. And then they look and they say, oh, right, okay, so in this culture, if you write things online, that is a worse crime than punching police officers. And the alien's like, oh, hang on a minute, you sure? Because, like, in our culture, like, if you attack those people that are supposed to be providing you with security, that's like a really bad thing. Where are you getting this from? And then he's like, yeah, listen, nanu, nanu. If you look down here, look, this woman here, Lucy, she wrote this online and she got this much time in prison. And then these two guys, look, they got back from this flight from Pakistan. they were doing fisticuffs in the airport and nothing's happened to them. So, oh, right, yeah, right, I've got you, right, tick in the box. So it's like the best way you can describe it, really. Lisa Jane is saying, I love Mork and Mindy. I was just a kid when that was on TV. Robin Williams was a very talented man. Very, very, he had a lot of demons, though, didn't he? And 82 TJ is saying the justice system is all backwards right now. It is, guys. There's no way that people can say that we have a fair justice system in the United States. Do you know what, guys? Maybe they can. Just nobody's explained how it's fair to me. Maybe I'm in the wrong, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me, and I'm watching this, and I'm looking that a man got 18 months in prison for shouting at a dog. Yeah, he did. I'm not making that up. I need to get this. Was it 18 months? I think it was 18 months. Give me a second. I mean, you wouldn't mind if he was like barking at the dog and using like bad dog barks. Man jailed for shouting at police dog. This is an article. Guys, I promise you, if you're watching from another country right now, in fact, guys, if you're watching from another country right now, this is going to make you laugh. It really will. But it just makes us cry in the UK. So especially if you're in the United States and you have a constitution, guys, look, if you're from the United States right now, you have no idea how important your constitution is. Don't let that constitution be eroded. Don't let your First and Second Amendment ever be eroded. So this is an article from the BBC from 20th of August, 2024. You guys can go and check this yourself. The headline, and guys, this makes I don't even know whether to laugh or cry. Man jailed for shouting at police dog. A father of 3 who shouted at a police dog has been jailed for 20 months for violent disorder. I'm not making that up. Bradley McCarthy, jailed for 20 months at Bristol Crown Court. I'm not making that up. I didn't pass that judgment. I didn't write this article in the BBC. I'm just communicating it to you guys. So, look, guys, I'm not advocating shouting at police dogs or any dog. We love it. We love those little fur. We love those little furry friends. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's 20 months in jail for shouting at a police dog or any dog for that matter, or anyone for that matter. Shouting. So can you imagine, I mean, it was a lovely dog as well. It was a Malinois. I love those Mals. I love those Mals, guys. I love Mals. And you know what? If I'd have been at that protest and I'd have seen him, I may have actually got angry with him. I may have said, mate, don't shout at the dog, you idiot. The dog's not done anything. Oh. But still, this guy shouldn't get 20 months in jail for shouting at a dog. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Right. Stop, ladies and gentlemen. This just come to me right now, okay? So, the man who sexually assaulted the girl in Epping? The migrant who sexually assaulted the girl in Epping, proven sexual assault, he got 12 months in jail. Again, looking down at the aliens, right, what's worse, sexually assaulting girls or shouting at dogs? Well, they're animal lovers. Shouting at dogs gets you more time in jail. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Stephen Robinson. Hello, Stephen Robinson. Stephen Robinson on you. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. 82 TJ has just said in response to the last article we was talking about that it's barking mad. It's barking mad. And I agree. It's barking mad. Sorry. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of comments on the chat, so I do apologize if I'm not able to get them all. Steve Robinson is saying, I was at one of the RAF bases today, and there were at least 50 young men being booked onto site, look like migrants to me. And when I said about it, they just brushed it off. What do you like? An operational RAF base, or do you mean like one of the older RAF bases? It really winds me up, this guys, because Shorncliffe Barracks in where is it? Shorncliffe, Folkestone. Shorncliffe Barracks in Folkestone used to be home to the Royal Gurkha Rifles. I think they're called the Gurkhas. And I can remember going up to Shorncliffe Barracks, and that barracks was gleaming, guys. Oh, I'm not a guardsman. It was spotless. That barracks was really good. And we were like the hobos down in Connaught Barracks, which was like, you know, literally the barracks that we were in back in, I don't know, 2000 or whatever. The barracks that we were in, Connaught Barracks, was it was deemed uninhabitable for humans. They said they were going to give that to asylum seekers, and they said, oh no, this is uninhabitable for humans. We can't have asylum seekers in there. Don't worry, one para-battle group will be straight in there. And so when I saw these migrants at Shorncliffe Barracks in I think it's Folkestone. It is Folkestone. Yeah, it's definitely Folkestone. I was, you know, and they were angry with the accommodation. I was like, that's really good accommodation. It's like really good. Anyway, let me let's continue. Sean McKay, hang on, I think we've got some jokes coming here, guys. I think we're on a comedy night. Sean McKay is saying, what did the dog say in defense in court? And what was he alarmed and distressed? All right, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is what I mean. How can you send a man to prison for 20 months for shouting at a dog? What did he say? Causing alarm? Is it causing alarm and distress? Violent disorder. Violent disorder after shouting at a dog. Daniel Payne is saying, what's the one on the range on Folkestone that should have been illegal? The range on Folkestone? I don't know. I've never. Are you talking about Hythen Lid? I don't think, is that Folkestone, Hythen Lid? And you have to stop shooting when the ferries come past. Is it Hythen Lid? I don't know. Maybe. Or Stanter. I think it's Hythen Lid. Trevor Pritchard on YouTube is saying, my dad, his dad wasn't a dog. I got that wrong, guys, okay? Trevor Pritchard is saying, my dad was a dog handler for 3 years in the army, Northern Ireland. They only let them have them for that time because they get too attached. Broke my dad's heart. Yeah. I actually read the dogs in Vietnam. They were classed as pieces of equipment. So when the US military left Vietnam in, like, I don't know, was it 79? I think I want to say, I can't remember, whatever year the US military pulled out of Vietnam. They had to leave all the dogs behind. Can you imagine that? You know how you get like attached to like those little furry meat missiles? You know, and then you just have to leave them behind. It's just terrible, absolutely terrible. But now in the United States, dogs actually get service numbers, so they're not equipment; they're actually members. You know, members of the armed forces. Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listen, guys, let me just recap what we've been talking about. And then I've just looked at the time there. I'll recap what we've been talking about, and then I will jump over to YouTube. I will be on for a little bit longer on YouTube, guys. So we have been talking about Robert Jenrick. I need to caveat that. Robert Jenrick is accusing 35 judges of pro-migrant bias. What he's saying is that he's, allegedly identified 35 judges who are in the upper echelons of the British judicial system, and they are rigging the game against you. So when these cases get brought to judges, they're very lenient. Now, my natural question on that is, okay, if there's 35 judges that have a pro-migrant bias, how many judges have a America bias? How many judges have a pro-Northern Ireland bias? How many judges have a pro-Palestine bias? How many judges have and this is what I'm getting, how many judges are actually, corrupt? Wouldn't it be better if we had do you think we should have artificial intelligence making judgments? And then the artificial intelligence can then, I don't know, guys, maybe I'm thinking outside the box here. Maybe I'm thinking this is going to be a lead in towards bringing artificial intelligence into the judicial system, whereby they say, right, we've got too many judges and these judges are all biased. What we're going to do is we're going to get AI to make the decision. Let me ask Grok real quick. Let me ask Grok if it would be a good idea to have an artificial intelligence judge. Would it be a good idea? So I've just asked Grok. Would it be a good idea to use artificial intelligence as a judge? And would you be a fair judge, Grok? Question mark. Oh, God, that's quite okay. So using AI as a judge is a fascinating but tricky idea, especially in the light of Robert Jenrick's push to address perceived judicial bias in the UK. Obviously, he's looking at the mainstream. Let's break it down for the UK. Potential benefits, consistency. AI could apply the precedents and state statutes uniformly, reducing variability in rulings that might stem from human judges. So I think that's a good thing. Personal leanings for existence, like Jenrick's concerns about pro-migrant bias. Speed. AI could process vast amount of legal cases and evidence quickly, clearing backlogs in courts. Transparency. An AI's decision-making could be logged and audited, potentially addressing Jenrick's call for a judicial register. Wow, guys, look, all these things seem good to me. Oh, they all seem good. Challenges. Bias in design. AI isn't immune to bias. It's built in and trained by humans. If the training data or algorithms reflect those political agendas, then the decisions will be biased. In the US, they have faced accusations of racial bias due to skewed training data. Lack of human judgment. Law isn't just code. It involves nuance, empathy, and context. Do you know what, guys? It does, breaking the law can sometimes be the right thing. I'm sure you guys can think of I'm not advocating breaking the law. I'm just saying, to save your life or to save a child's life, you're like smashing a window or something. You see where I'm going. Accountability. Who's responsible if an AI judge makes a bad decision? Legal and ethical barriers. So I don't know. That sounds good to me. Those consistency, speed, and transparency. They're always good things, guys. Always good things. Googly on TikTok is saying Trump's threat to invoke Insurrection Act escalates shutdown with democratic cities. It's crazy in the United States at the moment, guys. You know, I think Donald Trump is he's using this as a big fibula exercise. So for those of you guys who don't know, fibula would be fighting in built-up areas, or fish and chips. If you guys want to use the airborne acronyms, fish and chips, fighting in someone's house, causing havoc in people's streets. That's fish and chips. That's what people do, fish and chips, or fibula, fighting in built-up areas. So at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, is Donald Trump just preparing for a massive, like, urban conflict? Power restored to Russian-held parts of Ukraine, as Zaporizhia region officials say. And Nigel Farage genuinely felt worried about TikTok threats. Yeah, like, I think somebody will have a crack at Nigel Farage. I don't know why. I don't know what he's ever said that's like. Like, you've got this guy like Bob Villan. I mean, I guess people have I've called Villan out. So, you know, you have got people who say a lot worse, like a lot worse than I wouldn't even say what Nigel Farage is saying is bad. In fact, you know, if you want to find some people who are bad, you know, you can find them pretty easy. You know, and there is a far right, guys. There is a far right that. A lot of things are getting blamed on the far right. You know, a lot of people, oh, it's the far right. I don't think it's that much of a big, it's more of a symptom of a problem. If the problem goes away, the symptom goes away, which leads me to, and I will close on this, guys, real quick. So, you know, the mosque, I've spoke about this earlier, but I'll just do it real quick. The mosque that had the door burnt, Nottinghamshire police have arrested this is off their website, guys, okay, off Nottinghamshire police website, so don't get me done for fake news. Nottinghamshire police have arrested a 43-year-old man, Arif Ali Shafiq. Now, they're saying he's a British Asian man. Again, I don't know what that means. I really don't know what a British Asian man is. Was he born in Britain but has Asian parents? In that context, if an orc have a baby orc in Rivendell, does that make that baby an elf? I don't know. Does it? Does it? If an orc baby is born in Rivendell, is that orc baby now an elf? I don't know. And he has to do elf shit. And he's like, I can't do elf shit. I'm an orc. I've got fangs. I want to crush stuff. No, you are an orc. Let's promote this orc. Let's promote it. It's not an elf, though. It only knows orc shit. Elves are tall and beautiful and with blonde flowing hair, and they can walk on snow without leaving footprints. And orcs, But he was born in Rivendell, so he must be an orc. It must be an elf. You're not an elf, mate. If your mum and dad are orcs, doesn't matter where you were born, you're an orc. So Google is saying Fayaz Khan, 26, is on trial at Southwark Crown Court, accused of threatening to shoot the Reform leader. Yeah, guys, look, again, this is one of the directions of travel we said this would take. People will start to target politicians, and they will make those politicians not want to do anything, or the politicians that they do stuff for, they will be heavily under the thumb of those criminal gangs that are controlling them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now. The crux of this video has been the Great British Collapse is here. The game is rigged against you. Now, this comes out as Robert Jenrick. He's accused 35 judges in the United Kingdom of working against the British public by being pro-migration. He lists a load of reasons why. Sean McKay is saying, Never, ever have I looked forward to a Man of the Evening. Oh, thank you so much, Sean McKay. And I look forward to all you guys, your fantastic comments. But I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, today's been an absolute nightmare with this eye. I was playing salt eye. You know, I was throwing the salt around. It got some salt in my eye. I thought, look, I'm just going to have a game of salt eye on my own. And I won and I lost. I'm not growing a beard, guys. I'm not growing a beard. Right, guys, listen, seriously, I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I will be over on YouTube for a little bit. If you're not going to jump over to YouTube, I'm a Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. If you're not jumping over, I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I don't have anything to do, so I'll try and stay on a little bit longer tomorrow. This morning, I had to go and get some wood, and then I came back. I had to do the nuclear threats. 23 locations in the United Kingdom are being identified by the Russians as potential strike points. If you've not watched that video, guys, go and watch that like next on YouTube or whatever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this live stream down now on TikTok, and I will be over on YouTube. And if you've not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those things. And ladies and gentlemen, only 2 more paydays before the big fat man comes. That's how I left them. I left TikTok like that. I told 2 more paydays before the big fat man comes. They love that, guys. They love it. Who doesn't love it when the big fat man comes? You know, the big fat man coming down the chimney. Listen, guys, we've all got to trim our belts a little bit, me included. 2 more paydays, guys. Listen, and I know that Father Christmas brings most of those presents. I know he does. I've never seen him, but I heard him once. I think I saw the trees moving as the sledge went over. And but you know, I know some mums and dads like to subsidize Father Christmas's presents for your kids, because if your kids have been extra good that year, you like to get them that little bit extra. Guys, listen, beyond an illusion, we've got 2 paydays left, and there's a big bad budget coming at the end of November. Right as a kick in the balls, just as you get paid, just as you're about to get paid, they're going to squizzle some money off you. Rachel Reeves is going to come up and she's going to say, we're in this together. The world's changed. We now have to tax the working people because all the millionaires have left and all the small businesses have gone shut. So we are now going to increase taxes. It's coming, guys. Let's be under no illusion. It is absolutely coming. Right, I'm just going to jump down to the bottom of these comments. God, my eye is in absolute agony. James is saying, grow a beard. No, this is not what James is saying. Freddie is saying, grow a beard and hair like Zeus. Like Zeus. I can't, guys. I can't grow a beard. I can't grow a beard. It gets to a certain length, and I like this now. This is doing my head in, guys. It's absolutely doing my head in. I don't know how long I can keep this. Hang on. What I had a comment then. Oh, there we are. James Brooke. Sean, is Russia's strategy to knock out powers? Yes, you know, yeah. This time of year, it always happens. The Russians will strike the Ukrainians' power grid, gas, electric. They have also, in Kiev, they have these big, they have centralized water heating. It's wild. So if you're ever, I don't know if you're ever going to go to Kiev or anything, but if you go to Kiev and you rent an apartment and you're in like one of the older apartments, like one of the old Soviet ones, you actually get centralized hot water. So you don't actually have a hot water tank. This comes from a centralized tank, I guess, like in somewhere, I don't know where it is. So you have to turn the hot tap on, and honestly, guys, it literally takes forever. It takes forever for the hot water to get hot. So yeah, taking out basically the all these locations to bring down that temperature in Kiev. The coldest I've ever been in Kiev wasn't actually in Kiev. It was west in. Go on. Is it Kremenchuk? Not Kremenchuk. Not Kremenchuk. Where is it? Go on. I'm going to have to get the map up. Sorry, guys. I can't. Kharkiv. Sorry. Yeah, Kharkiv, not Kremenchuk. So I was in Kharkiv, and it was minus 26. Like, as someone who went to Ukraine after being in the Middle East, I lived in Baghdad for 5 years, and I went from Baghdad to Ukraine. Someone who's lived in Baghdad, where it's like, if it gets down to like 10 degrees, people are like shivering, and from going there to Ukraine, where it was like minus 26, I can't tell you what that was like. Stepping out of the room, stepping out of your hotel in the morning, and it's minus 26. Absolutely unbelievable. I was with an ex-Royal Marine, and he's done all the all the Arctic survival courses and that, because like those Marines love that sort of stuff. And he was just constantly laughing at me. But yeah, it gets really cold in Ukraine, guys. Really cold. Freddie is saying Vladimir Putin is discussing an attack on NATO as warning issued all over Europe yesterday. Poland. Poland. As far as I'm concerned, like any other country is off the cards, because Poland has so much to attack. When people come up on the channel and say, "Oh, Sean, is the United Kingdom going to get attacked? Are we going to get?" I'm like, no. Like, if anywhere is going to get attacked outside of Ukraine, and there's plenty of targets in Ukraine, it's going to be Poland, and I believe it will be the airfield, the Polish airfields the Polish airfields that will get hit. And the reason I believe the Polish airfields will get hit, because I believe Ukrainian F-16s are flying from Poland. I don't see how they can be flying from Ukraine, because the airfields will just get smashed up. So this all came about in a very peculiar way, because can you remember when and I'm not convinced that the pilots of these F-16s that the Ukrainians have got, I'm not convinced that the pilots are, I'm not convinced that the pilots are Ukrainian. So this all came about when Ukrainians first got given the F-16s, and then the Ukrainians said, "Oh, but we're not going to keep them all in Ukraine. We're only going to keep an operational number here. We're going to keep most of them in other places in Europe." I was like, yeah, so you're not going to keep any at all. And if one gets shot down, all they're going to say is, "Oh no, that was an administration run. We were bringing that out for servicing, or we were bringing that back in for operations." And that's what's going to happen. And very soon we're going to see the scenario where Polish F-16s have the authority to fly in Ukraine. So then what is going to be the difference in radar signature, because that's what the Russians are using, radar signature and I guess satellites. What is the difference in radar signature and satellite sensor reading from an offensive F-16 leaving a Polish runway to do an offensive mission, and a defensive F-16 leaving a Polish runway to do a defensive mission? So there's going to be absolutely no difference, guys. That's why I think, and I've said this for quite a while, if there's ever going to be another target struck and if there's going to be another NATO target struck, it's going to be the airfields in Poland or aviation infrastructure. Donald Trump says America is on the brink of martial law as he considers the unthinkable. You've got to have law and order, guys. You've got to have law and order. You can't have criminal gangs running. You can't have criminal gangs running the place. Here in the United Kingdom, we have criminal gangs running the place. That's what we do. We have criminal gangs running the place. And you know there's criminal gangs running the place in the United Kingdom, because do you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Absolutely not. You do not feel safe. I don't feel safe. Do your kids feel safe walking home from school? Would you feel safe with your daughters taking a walk through a city centre on their own at night? Would you feel safe with that? After a night out? Absolutely not. Do you know where I would feel safe? I promise you guys, do you know where I would feel safe with the girls walking home late at night through a city centre? Kiev. Absolutely. If anybody's ever been to Ukraine and you've been to Kiev and you've walked through the city centre like 2 o'clock in the morning, there's no gangs of hoodlums hiding, wanting in the. It's relatively peaceful. Yes, there's things flying over and going kaboom. I'd take my chances with that rather than the gangs that are following girls home every day. Literally every day, guys, I would take those chances. Courtney is saying, nope, had a shooting today in Liverpool. It was gang related, but definitely don't feel safe anywhere. And yeah, exactly. Nobody feels safe anywhere. I was talking to my friend in Ukraine about this, and he's saying, Sean, I can't, I can't imagine what it's like for you. I said, I know, mate, it's bad. And he was saying, look, here in Ukraine, we're getting attacked by the Russians and buildings are blowing up and there's drones coming in and Iskander missiles. But, that's an outside threat. In our communities, we all come together and we all pull together. Slim is saying, Man United fever, our infrastructures would be targeted: ports, oil, storage, communications. Oh, hang on. Is that in response to someone? Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Yeah. So literally what Slim's just said. Man United fever. Sorry, mate. I didn't see your I didn't see your message. So Man United fever. I will answer this question, but if you've not done so already, go and watch my previous live stream. I think it's titled, whatever the live stream I did before this, Nuclear Threat UK, 23 locations identified. So your question is, will Russia strike the UK if there's a war with NATO? Yes, but not what you're thinking. I don't think they would do it with missiles. I think they would do it with sabotage. They would use paid criminal gangs to go and, sabotage things. Because if you launch a missile, and I go into depth in this on that last video I did, if you launch a missile, you can tell where that missile comes from. So as soon as you launch that missile, you're fair game to get missiles back. And Russia don't really want missiles back. So you would use, if I was the bad guys, and I'm not, I am absolutely not the bad guys. I'm like, hashtag good guy, hashtag protagonist. I mean, look at my hair, guys. Have I got bad guy hair? It makes that funny, actually. My friend has wrote a book. My friend's wrote a book, and it's a children's book, and he's wrote the main character as called him Raven, and the Raven's the bad guy. He's modeling on me. But you know what? I'll try and get a copy, and I'll try and get some copies of that. What was I going to? Yeah. So go watch all the video. But if I was a bad guy, it makes no sense for me to waste expensive missiles, expensive in financially, expensive politically, because I'm going to get stuff coming back. It makes no sense me firing those missiles. What makes perfect sense is me to use a chain of indirect sources to employ criminal gangs to go and set fire to substations, go and set fire to critical infrastructure, go and set fire to the substation that supplies an airport. That's what makes sense. Right, listen, guys, I am going to close this down now. I am. You guys have been fantastic as always. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. I'm going to close this town down. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. As always, we'll be talking about what the craziness has happened in the last 12, 11, whatever hours it is until 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll be talking about whatever's happened there. We'll be talking about global events. We'll be talking about potential strikes on other countries. I think I'm going to start to, I think I need to revisit the Falkland Islands as well, guys. People are talking about the Falkland Islands again, and it is one of those hotbed contentious issues. I do believe there's going to be another military. I do believe the Argentinians are going to try and take the Falklands again. It makes no sense for them not to try and take the Falklands, because whoever owns the Falklands owns Antarctica. That's how much of a key piece of land the Falklands is. Doesn't really matter about the people on it. You just need to have a claim to that land. Now, Argentina can put that claim to that land. Again, Britain's going to defend that land, and everybody's going to be fighting over Antarctica, ladies and gentlemen, believe me. 2048, the people will probably start to move down to Antarctica. Antarctica, the Falklands. Other people are catching on, guys. There is going to be a mass exodus of Western culture to Antarctica. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. Like I said, you guys have been fantastic. If you've not done so already, can you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications down there, and share my stuff on your socials, guys? Really helps me out when you guys do that. I'll see you in the morning.